I am Kizelle Jackson. Today's episode is brought to you by the Answer McCall subsidiary, Tatil, where people are people. And we are talking today vehicle safety checks. Safety checks can cause significant reduction in road casualties for vehicle occupants. Now, let's go from small to big. Sometimes very small and insignificant. What? Wiper blades. Now, these wiper blades, you may think, well, for rain, dust, sometimes pollen, or just some bird doo-doo. It is important? Well, more than that. It can make a difference between your driving visibility. Now, if you cannot see well and you lose your focus, more than likely, adverse things can happen. Similarly with wiper blades. Now, these wiper blades are small and the arm is sending this rubber or silicone left and right, sometimes even automatically. However, it is imperative that you check your wiper blades. It is recommended to change your wiper blades probably every 6 months or sometimes a year, depend on your weather conditions. Some common signs that you need windshield wipers are squeaking or shattering sounds when in use, skipping motion in the wiper's movement, streaking smears or gaps of moisture on your windshield. And this will cause reduced driving visibility even with wipers in motion. Then you can also look for cracks, tear, or missing pieces of the blade. Oil is the lifeblood of any car. It is a preventative maintenance, an essential preventative maintenance that must be done. How often is it done? It is measured sometimes by mileage, but can we always use mileage? There are different gauges based on manufacturers. Some say 5,000 to 7,000 miles. However, is it mileage alone? And what can happen if you do not change your oil on time? The lifespan of your engine depends on your oil. So the oil is what lubricates the engine. Think about it as the lubrication between the two metals to prevent it from rubbing. So what can potentially go wrong? The car can overheat and some of the parts can become warped because of not changing your oil on time. Naturally, every vehicle releases some transilant vapor from the tailpipe. However, when that vapor looks like smoke, something is wrong. What can be wrong? Maybe there's an oil leak somewhere. So is mileage the only factor to use to change oil? No. The quality of oil, age of the car, and how the car is driven. So oil is supposed to be clean and healthy to optimize your car's performance. But what are some signs that your oil needs to change? Does the vehicle give any symptoms? Yes, it does. In some vehicles, a check engine or an oil change light may illuminate, indicating that you should check your oil. Engine noise, knocking, and rumbling. These are some signs to indicate that there is insufficient lubrication to prevent metal-to-metal brushing. Time to call out the grease monkey. Dark, dirty oil is another indicator that clearly your oil needs to be changed. Oil should be amber or translucent in color, but do you actually see dirty oil? It is recommended that you check your oil at least once per month, using the dipstick to check, and you look at the color to see if it's translucent, amber, or looking dark and dirty, indicating that the oil needs to change. Now, another thing, can you just use any oil? I mean, can I use some cooking oil in the engine? No. This is not to be used. Follow your manufacturer's guide as to which oil is recommended for your car. So now we're about to check the engine oil. We're pulling out the dipstick, and you can also check your oil levels. But first you wipe, and then we're putting the dipstick back in, and then we pull again. So clearly we are within safe levels. So you look from low to high to know if your levels are good. And then you watch the color from here to see if it is translucent, amber in color, or if it's dark and dirty. Clearly, this oil does not need to change. Tire pressure is very important for driving safety. So much so that an underinflated tire can cause your tire to blow out. But how do you know if your tire is underinflated or leaking? Sometimes we can see a smoothness on the inside or on the outside. This is because the tire is underinflated, meaning to say that this part is getting more contact with the road. If the center of the tire looks more worn, that means it's overinflated. How often do you change your tire or even check your tires? it is recommended to check your tire at least every 2 weeks, and some may say a minimum of a month's time. What else can happen? When a tire is underinflated, it can reduce fuel efficiency. How so? It takes more energy for the vehicle to move. Think about a bicycle with a soft tire. Take a lot more energy when you're riding, yes? Same applies, so when a tire is underinflated in a motor vehicle, it will reduce the fuel efficiency. Overinflated tires, they wear unevenly, which could affect what? The braking ability of the car. What about your vehicle alignment? The most common signs of misalignment are pulling to one side while you're driving, unusual tire wear, or steering that is off the center, even though your vehicle is pointed straight. Things like potholes, bumping curbs, or even minor accident are all common causes of one or more wheels coming out of alignment. As a motorist, you must check your engine, battery, check for leakage or any other signal lights. While headlights may not always be top of mind, in order to keep the road safe for yourself and others, it is important to periodically check your headlights and know how and when to use them. Make sure taillights are okay, test your brake lights, check turn signals, check reverse lights. The law requires that you have 2 functioning headlights that are to be turned on, usually from sunset to sunrise. There are some signs and symptoms. Use your senses, your sense of sight, hearing, even smell. Let's look at exhaust smoke. So what exactly is exhaust smoke? Exhaust smoke is one symptom that your vehicle will use. It's like old school mechanics. You look at the smoke in terms of the varying colors and they can tell exactly what is wrong with the car. So the smoke may be white, it may be blue, or it may be black. So what is exactly is white exhaust smoke? If the vehicle is not cold and it is hot and you're still seeing that cloudy, pillowy, thick-looking white smoke, what could that mean? It could mean that maybe you have a leaking coolant. So your engine may be burning too much coolant. You could have a damaged cylinder head gasket problems. So all of this could be signs of something wrong with your car. And even if it's a diesel, bad news, look for a mechanic, meaning that the injector is either worn out or needs changing. Trying to turn your power steering and realizing that the car groans and whines, almost as though it wakes up from a deep, deep slumber. What is that? There's some friction, and sometimes the steering could feel very stiff and unresponsive. My recommendation, check your power steering fluid. It could be that there's maybe a leak or that there's oil in your fluid. Have it checked out. Because if you don't check it out, you could eventually lose power. It is very slow, but you can eventually lose power and you lose control over your whole vehicle. And that could be a catastrophe. What are the tint laws in Trinidad and Tobago as it pertains to your vehicle? Are there any exemptions to this law? Let's talk about you, the driver. What are the laws and what you should know? Your vehicle windows must have the following visible level of light transmittance. Front windscreen, 70%. The vehicle anti-glare ban, 35%. That is that band from the top of your windscreen up to 6 inches. Each front window, including side wing, side window, 35%. Each rear window, including side window and the rear windscreen, 20%. Now, do you fully understand this law? Are there exemptions? Yes, there are. For the president in her official capacity, as well as personal capacity, she is exempted. For the Prime Minister in his personal capacity, as well as official capacity, he is also exempted. For members of the police service, firearm, coast guards, they are also exempted. However, there are persons with medical conditions that exposure to sunlight may have adverse effects. They can also be exempted. How do you get exemption? You have to apply to the Ministry of Works and Transport. On their website, there's an application form that you can send in to request such exemptions. For all the rest of us, this is just for you.